Hey everybody, it is Dungeon Master Mark again. I was not planning on doing another video for this session today, but I had a couple people on Facebook, one person in the Dwarven Forge fan group, and then a couple other fantasy terrain groups asked me how I like to do my puzzles and some of my campaigns and game sessions and things like that. So we're going to make this a really kind of quick, kind of a Ask a GM session like some of the older videos I used to do. There's a couple things I try to do whenever I add puzzles into a quest. For those who've never seen the Dwarven Forge Dungeon of Doom puzzle pieces, I was lucky enough I ordered a couple sets when they first came out, but there's a bunch of different rooms, different spell sigils, glowing sigils. So you can actually do some of them where they're not glowing, some of them so they are glowing. So what I like to do whenever I do puzzles, which actually I still got a couple that haven't never been taken out yet out of the two sets, I like to try to tie them into something that the party is really good at. So like in this case, we have a wizard and a cleric. So for the wizard, these are going to be the elemental spheres. So we just have the air, the fire, the wind and earth, or I should say air and earth. I think I said air twice, actually. I'm really tired, as you can probably tell. So in this case, the wizard's going to make a knowledge check. And the wizard knows from his studies at the Arcane University, or if he's a sorcerer, he knows that as far as the spheres are, they go in a certain order, right? So obviously the water is directly across from fire and so on and so forth. So he knows that the one seems to be out of order by making his knowledge check. And then, so what they're going to do is they know when they come over here, there is some of these wall of force effects that are going to have like a glimmer of fire to the one, a glimmer of water to the one where it looks like kind of water flowing through it, and the one looks almost like winds rippling across it. And the one that's very, very weak, they can almost see through it. Looks like it has just like a little bit of sand or like an earth effect. So in the wizard's case, I'm going to give them enough information that they can kind of guess into what it is. And then, like for instance, if the cleric does his knowledge check, which I know she has a very, very high knowledge religion check, she's going to realize that those are certain cleric domains. Like the one symbol represents healing and life, the one represents death and undeath, and so on and so forth. Another thing you can do, like I said, you can have a couple of these tiles. So let's say you had, like 6 tiles like right next to each other, you could spell out something. And then you can have, maybe in the corner of the room, there's a couple of tiles that someone has to lay down to, whether it's like a wizard's name or some big bad guy that, like if this is the lair of Sun Maz the sorcerer, he's been dead for 1,000 years. The party has done all this research. They know his name was Sun Maz. And basically, it's this ancient alphabet. They're able to use linguistics or a similar skill so that they know what the particular way they spelled it with these ancient runes. So the party has to work together. Maybe all of them have to make knowledge checks, and anyone who succeeds is able to help spell out the name. So that's just a little quick ways. I apologize. Someone's messaging me there. But that is one way you can do puzzles. Another way you can really tie the puzzle in is, for instance, say something similar where the party goes through like an entirely different quest just to gain like a scroll or an ancient artifact from, let's use the same example of this ancient sorcerer named Sun Maz. The only thing they find when they open up the scroll, it's this ancient text, is just one word, and say it's, like Guldur, right? Like Guldur. So that's the only word that's on this entire scroll. And the party, from their earlier research, knew that this particular artifact is very valuable. At first, they're going to be like, oh man, this sucks, because all we got was this one particular name, right? Once they get further into this quest, there might be a puzzle where they have to spell that out in the runes. And that might let them go to the next part of the quest, or maybe even the very first part of the quest. Without that, they just can't get past it. It's like a super powerful wall of force, or maybe it lets them bypass a really dangerous encounter or something similar. So definitely don't be afraid to think outside the box. When it comes to traps and puzzles, you can do it a couple different ways. Like I said, that can let them bypass something. It lets them perform a knowledge check. It also kind of ties the character or that player into the game because things that they know from their past are more relevant. And not only that, it also gets them kind of thinking outside the box a little bit where they're like, hey, can I make a knowledge check? So don't be afraid to throw in some really interesting puzzles, some really interesting traps. And if you're really feeling mean and nasty, make a puzzle that's also a trap. Every single time they get the answer wrong or they put the wrong square in the wrong hole, or I should say the wrong peg in the wrong hole, a trap goes off. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to reply to this if any ideas for other future videos, and I will try to make them as soon as I can. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.